injuries, you can see that red means that player's out. So Jabari Smith is out today, and this the lighter red means they're unlikely to play, so it's mostly doubtful. So maybe like 10% chance they play, and then just kind of a toss up to play is they're questionable for the day. So that's kind of these type of news kind of come up closer to lock time, an hour before. So this kind of I come in here, I look at all the injury news. A lot of these players, like someone like Brogdon doesn't get a lot of minutes. Vucevic for the Wizards, he doesn't get a lot of minutes. Bagley, I don't even think he's played this season. But that kind of, then you kind of analyze that and see where the players with a lot of minutes are. And you can kind of tell that just kind of by clicking on each player. Like Royce O'Neal, he's been out for 3 games, but before the 3 games, he got 12 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 29 minutes, 34 minutes, right? He has a lot of minutes, and he's a power forward. So what's going to happen is the power forwards on the Suns, they're going to get a lot of minutes, and that'll be your guys like Kevin Durant, who would get more minutes, and then other power forwards like maybe guys down here would get a little bit more. Kogi maybe, but it's not always a 1-to-1. Kevin Durant is a starter and he gets a lot of minutes, but just because Royce O'Neal is out, that doesn't mean the next power forward is going to come straight up, right? It could be guys like Yusuf Nurkic, who's a center, gets some of those minutes. Bradley Beal gets some of those minutes, right? So it's kind of like the sixth man of the team will get more minutes, and which would definitely be someone like Bradley Beal or Grayson Allen. So that's kind of how that goes. And then, so we're kind of just looking at which players are injured and who it would benefit directly. And that's kind of what I just talked about. But then we look at, let's look at the injury that is huge, and we'll go with the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic both out. I mean, these are guys that play a huge amount of minutes, right? Like Luka's missed the past 6 games. And before that, I mean, Luka is the primary ball handler. His usage is very high. So now that he's out, that means the minutes goes to the second best or the third best player, right? Well, the second best player on the Mavericks is Kyrie, and he's also out. So now you have 2 guys with a lot of usage, guys that handle the ball. They get the most amount of touches on the team. That's probably like 80% of the touches on the team gone. So now we kind of see who that benefits, right? And the best way to see that is on these games that these guys missed, who is the next man up kind of scenario? Who's the guy that's taking a lot of shots when those games are gone? And to kind of analyze that, I come to the Roto Grinder website, and I'll just kind of basically just see, all right? So Luka and Kyrie missed January 6th and January 3rd. So let's go look at the games January 6th and 3rd and see who got a lot of minutes, right? Klay Thompson's a great shooter. He gets a lot of shots up, but you can see the past 2 games, 16 shots and 13 shots. But his highest shots are on 3 points. 3-pointers are a little bit uncertain because it's kind of if you're hot or not. 3-point is very based on what's the word, like confidence level, how you're feeling that day. 3-pointers behind the arc is a lot more difficult just because it's more distance, right? And you want to make sure if you don't have a good flow of the game, then you're just gonna have a bad day and you're gonna shoot like 1 for 8. So 3-pointers are very tough. So I would kind of get away from Klay Thompson. And another guy that would also get a lot of shots is look, we can see directly 2 games that Kyrie and Luka missed are January 6th and 3rd. You can see PJ Washington shooting 8, 11, 5 shots a game, but the games that Luka and Kyrie missed, he's getting 20 shots, 18 shots, 22 shots, right? So he's getting more than double the amount of shots he would take when Luka and Kyrie are playing opposed to when they're not playing. So they're not playing again tonight. So I love PJ Washington just because he's getting a lot more shots, a lot more usage. He's going to see the ball more often, and he loves shooting the ball, right? So that's one way I would analyze that directly for injury, especially when big name players are out. And then kind of what I would see also is, okay, like now who's guarding PJ Washington, right? And it would probably be someone like LeBron or Rui. And I would kind of also go look at what these teams are allowing against the against position. So it would be fantasy points allowed per position NBA. Okay, so then this is probably the best Fantasy Pros app. PJ Washington's a power forward, right? So you kind of look at the fantasy points here, and you try to find the Lakers. Lakers are basically bottom tier as they don't allow a lot of rebounds. I mean, that makes sense because Anthony Davis, he's a great rebounder, and he'll box you out really well, a great defender. So now we kind of can see maybe his upside's going to be limited just because Lakers allow bottom 3 rebounds to opposition per game, right? Points is still kind of high, but kind of looking at the rebounds, that is very low. So that means, yeah, PJ Washington is a great matchup for shots, but he might not get the same amount of rebounds as he's gotten the past few games, which has been 10-7. It's still going to be a decent amount, but most of his fantasy points will come from points, right? So I would still like PJ Washington for over 15, maybe 20 points for upside, just because he's taking 18, 22, 20 shots when Kyrie and Luka are out. Okay, and then now I would dive into game totals and spreads, which you can kind of all see in the bottom here, or you can go directly on FanDuel and it's all here, right? So now let's break down each game. Rockets Wizards, their total is 224.5. I usually like to look at games that are faster paced. I would say games that are over 230. But another thing, even if this game was over 230, I wouldn't like it just because the spread is so high. They're saying Rockets are going to blow out the Wizards. And what's going to happen when games blow out is they're going to put the bench players in, the players that are like 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th man on the team. And those players are going to come play all the fourth quarter, and then the starters are going to sit. So that basically limits production. So I kind of just completely fade these games and move on to the next. I mean, if we keep going down, like I try to meet both of those requirements. So this is 225.5. I don't like it. I keep going down. 218.5. Don't love it. And then these two games are in prime position because Hawks Jazz over 239. I mean, that's a big total, right? So that's good. That means there's going to be more points, more rebounds, more assists, more turnovers, more steals, more blocks, everything. There's going to be more of everything, right? So the pace is going to be a lot faster. These are the types of game I like to target. Same with the Celtics Nuggets, 237.5, right? So these two games right here, Hawks Jazz, Celtics Nuggets, I would target the most. And then I kind of just go back on here, and I can tell that Aaron Gordon, he's the starting power forward, and he gets a good amount of minutes, but he's out right now. So he's like, these are almost 30 minutes that he's given up to the next man up, and that next man up is kind of is Christian Braun, right? So we can kind of directly see how Christian Braun is doing on the games that Aaron Gordon is out. So you'll look 27 and up, like you can see he's getting more minutes, he's getting more points, right? In this faster paced game, he's getting a good amount of shots too. I mean, they've definitely gone up on the games on these bottom where Aaron Gordon did play, and the games on top where he didn't, right? It seems like there's more production fantasy on average. So that's a good way to see that, but another thing also would be the main two guys, Jokic and Murray. They're both playing. And Celtics as a defense, I mean, they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. So you're kind of going to have to fade the top prime positions like Jrue Holiday, Derek White. These are one of the best defenders in the league. So I want to make sure, I don't stay up here on points for Jamal Murray or Russell Westbrook, right? So I would kind of fade those two and kind of look down here. Like the ball moves through Jokic. Jokic is basically has the biggest usage. I mean, there's stats out there that say Jokic touches the ball at least like 1.5 times per possession, which is absolutely insane. Like getting the touch of the ball more than once a possession is already insane. But you can see Jokic's number, like it's just there's a lot of shots. He's taking 35, 36, 33 shots per game, and assist is high. That means, he just gets the most amount of uses per game. But most of the times, when you go look at Vegas and you look at Jokic, he's the first one here. His line is so high. It's 51 points, rebounds, assists. Well, that basically means that Vegas is already accounted for Jokic being the main man, ball moving through him, everything. So now comes a question like, do we think Jokic can get 51 points, rebounds, assists total? And I think the answer should most definitely be yes for this game, just because we can already tell that the second best player on the team, which is Jamal Murray, is going to get locked down by these great defenders up top, Drew Holiday and Derek White. So that means Jokic is going to just have more shots this game. I mean, like the past 2 games where he has shots, he's almost got that 51 on just points. And then the rebounds and assists just become extra butter because this is 51 for all 3. So I think this is one prop I would take, just because he's been shooting the ball really well lately. He's gotten a good feel. He's going to get his rebounds. He's going to get his assists. So that's why I would like this play. Vegas is messing up, and that would kind of mean like, oh, someone that is injured today. Let's look at another game. Let me try to find a great example of this. Let's go back to this Dallas game, right? PJ Washington. Let's go look at PJ Washington. We talked about him earlier. Injured Luka, injured Kyrie. So there's different ways you can look at this pick, right? You can look at, when we go to Prize Picks, you can go look at PJ Washington's points. Vegas has him, or Prize Picks Vegas has him projected at 16.5. The one thing I would kind of look at is what, like we looked earlier, what his shots are when these 2 guys aren't playing. And I mean, you're looking at a guy that's getting over 19 shots on average when Luka and Kyrie sit, right? And these are these 3 games right here, not January 1st, but the other ones. And his fantasy points have been very high, NBA fantasy points right here. But his points has also been pretty solid on average. I mean, like, we're looking at a good amount, over 20. He's taking more threes, everything. So I think the 16.5, I would definitely go over here. I think I would have him projected somewhere at 19, with, higher upside being that. But like a safer spot I would take is probably 15. And Prize Picks doesn't allow you to do that, but on FanDuel, you come in here, you take 15. It's a favorable odd. Vegas is saying like this is likely to happen, but you can definitely still take that, right? And then you can just add other plays and kind of parlay that.